All right, KOTNmedia fans, we've got a very, very special guest here today. We got the CEO of the Pakistan Cricket Board, Wasim Khan. Wasim, thanks for joining us today, mate.
Pleasure.
Mate, it's great to get someone of your calibre on the show so early doors. Good friend of both of ours, Mark Cosgrove. You had the pleasure of working with him at Leicestershire, and we've been able to tee this up today.
Yeah, definitely. And I met Cosy in 2015 when I became chief executive of Leicestershire County Cricket Club in England, and Cosy had just been signed before I arrived, along with Andrew McDonald, who was a head coach. But no, he was phenomenal for us. During the time I was there, and a great guy, and someone who probably led our batting probably single-handedly for a number of years. But yeah, no, it was a good experience.
No, he's an absolutely great man. Now, the CEO of Pakistan Cricket Board, just take us through a little bit of what that involves. Obviously, it's a very new role. We'll go back over your journey, but very new role to you. So you're out here in Australia. So what's it involving for you while the boys are playing cricket?
Yeah, look, it's the question probably is what doesn't it involve? Because it's probably it's a nation of 220 million people, passionate about cricket. Cricket and politics are probably the only two things. Sometimes they mix a bit too closely for my liking. But no, look, it's there was a number of things which were on the agenda when I first arrived. One of them was trying to get international cricket back into Pakistan. There'd been no Test cricket for 10 years because of the issue, the thing that happened with the Sri Lanka players back 10 years ago. So that was one of the first things. Revamping domestic cricket was the other thing. And the Pakistan Super League, trying to bring the whole thing back to Pakistan. So we've managed to do all three in around about 10 months. So it's been a lot of hard work. So while I'm here in Australia, it was important for me to meet with Cricket Australia. I've got a good relationship with Kevin Roberts, but also to meet the Australian Cricketers Association as well, because ultimately trying to get the Australian team to come back to Pakistan, it means the players have got to be happy doing it. So for me, it's just reassuring them about all the security provisions that we've now got in place and the things that we're doing.
And it's a pretty quick turnaround. The boys, they'll finish either today or tomorrow, and they're back on a plane back to Pakistan. And as you say, a lot of them are going to play their first test, or all of them are going to play their first test in Pakistan in only a week or two.
Yeah, 11th of December, the first test against Sri Lanka. So the first time Test cricket's back in 10 years. Got 2 Test matches. The second one's in Karachi on the 19th. But yeah, look, take an example. Azhar Ali, the captain, played 70 odd Test matches. He's never played a Test match, at his home venue, at a home venue in Pakistan. And if you just imagine that, the guys, the greats that have played for Australia, your Langas, your Haydens, all these sorts of people, and just try and put yourself in the shoes of our Pakistani cricketers who've never had the opportunity to walk out in front of big crowds, step foot onto the field in front of their own people in their own country. So it's a pretty emotional and pretty symbolic moment. I'm sure it will be for the players as well, because it means a lot to them. And I think the whole country is waiting in anticipation.
No, it's going to be very exciting. Tickets on sale, is going to be a sellout? Or?
Well, we're hoping. We're just trying to make it just sort of realistic for supporters. So literally, it's not about making money for us. It's just about filling the stadium. So that's certainly what we're going to try and do. Yeah,
it's going to be very exciting for all the boys, no doubt. Now, let's talk current Test series. Obviously, the boys probably struggled against some quality Australian batting from. Well, David Warner's gone on to now be the second ever, or the second highest top scorer ever for Australia. He's been phenomenal. Marnus Labuschagne's been phenomenal as well. The boys they've put up a good fight and a really good fight sort of through that middle order with the bat, but the Aussies they've been phenomenal this series.
Yeah, I think what it's probably shown is a nation that has got a structure which is pretty much down to a T, and a system that works, and the fact that they have a lot of Test cricket content as well, so they play a lot of Test cricket. So typically in a year, I would suspect Australia probably play 10 to 12 Test matches. We play 3 or 4 a year. So for us, playing 2 things. One is playing more Test cricket, which is hopefully what we'll start to do now, and secondly, not play our matches in the UAE because they're flat, dead tracks, and it doesn't prepare our guys to come and play over here. So we've seen the extra bounce, the high quality bowling which Australia have got. They're pretty relentless and ruthless. But we've shown in patches that we can compete, and we can be right up there. And we've had some good partnerships over the 2 Test matches. But unfortunately, we've lost wickets in clumps. We were none for 60 at lunch on day 1 in Brisbane, thinking we've set ourselves up nicely here. And then suddenly we lost 4 wickets for 5 runs and the game's over, by first hour after lunch on the first day. So there's lots of lessons for our guys, but we've got a very young bowling lineup. I know Waqar Yunus, our bowling coach, is excited by the 4 young quicks that we've got, in Naseem Shah, we've got Shaheen Afridi, we've got Musa Khan and Mohammed Hasnain, who was here for the white ball stuff. All guys who bowled 140 plus. So I think the future's going to be bright for Pakistan, definitely.
And let's touch on Naseem. 16 years old, he's out there playing Test cricket, and well documented the week leading up to that. Had some battles with losing his mother and that as well.
Yeah.
It must be really exciting for Pakistan cricket to see a 16-year-old out there bowling as quick as that. I know speaking to a few, the Aussie boys that had faced him, and that he was sending down thunderbolts over at the Wacker in that warm-up game, and then the same in Brisbane. But just got to be careful with him being 16-year-old, but very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's disappointing in many ways that people are focusing on whether he's 16 or not. It's the fact of it is here's a young kid who's bowling 140 plus. His pace is staying up there, along with Musa Khan, who this Test, and I've been really impressed that he's kept running in even when Australia were 2 for 300 and something, whatever it was. And so Musa and 2 young guys who've come through the system, but for a young guy, a 16-year-old, to lose his mum, and he's been struggling to sleep and everything else that you would do, but had the strength to want to stay on. We wanted to send him home and for him to be with his family as you would want, but I think he found a lot of comfort around very close mates, around the team, and he's carried on smiling, but I think the impact will probably hit him when he steps foot back in Pakistan again.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal effort that he's done that as well. Let's talk about one of the veterans of the team, Yashir Shah.
Yeah.
He's brought up his maiden Test 100 yesterday. Must have been amazing to watch him be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And look, Yasser, even in Brisbane, showed how useful he is with the bat. It's a shame actually, because having performed the way that he did, I personally would have just sent him back out again while he's keeping his pads on. The adrenaline's pumping. Go on, mate. He plays the quickies pretty well. So in the second innings, it probably would have been quite a good thing to say, look, you go back in. But I'm really delighted for him. He showed he battled away. Australia's quick bowlers, no easy feat to face. People like Stark at 145 to 150. But he battled away, he applied himself. Yes, he had a bit of luck, but you would hope you would get that as a number 8. But really delighted for him, and again, it's a real confidence booster for all the team.
Mate, it's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. Cricket, it's been a part of your life for every day. Now, you grew up in the UK.
Yeah.
How did you come to cricket in the first place?
I was really lucky. I grew up in a city, Birmingham, about 4 or 5 kilometres from Edgbaston. And in an inner city area, I was spotted in a playground by a school teacher at the age of 12. I went for trials, under 13s trials in Warwickshire, managed to get in, captained the teams from 13 onwards. I was the only state school boy in a predominantly in those days it was a very public schoolboy system. Not quite sure what you call it here, but it's basically private fee-paying schools, and I was the only boy from a state school who got in, and then I was made captain. Played through to the age of 19, got offered a contract at Warwickshire at the age of 19. Played for sort of 10 years during that time at Warwickshire and at Sussex. Thoroughly enjoyed my time, and I was fortunate enough to be at the club when Brian Lara was there in '94. And then I played in the double winning side in '95, managed to average 49, and play with Alan Donald and these guys, legends of the game, Gladstone Small. And it was probably the greatest time of my life, having a season like that and playing with such legends.
It's phenomenal to do that, and also the first Pakistani origin to play professional cricket in England. You were the first.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah, I didn't realise at the time. The media kind of made quite a lot about it, but for you, I was a 19-year-old just wanted to play cricket. So I was trailblazed in that way, unintentionally, but hopefully paved the way for quite a few others to come through.
Let's talk about your career after cricket, because that's been phenomenal in itself. You've ran 2 London marathons.
That's painful.
Obviously, you've done it for charity, which and did it for a fantastic cause. Raised a lot of money for it as well. How difficult were those moments to be doing a London marathon, to run a marathon in itself? Must have been huge.
Yeah, it was huge. I've never been a huge runner, so for me it was just setting myself another challenge and wanting to achieve that. And I picked probably the worst times, because the first marathon we were expecting our first, and then the second marathon, 2010, we were expecting our second. So my wife wasn't best pleased when I was disappearing at like 6 a.m. in the morning in the middle of the winter to go off for 15, 18 sort of mile runs, which is about 30, 35 kilometre runs. But look, it was great, and when you know you're doing something for a good cause, it's easy to motivate yourself in the morning to get up and run.
And mate, you've gone on to write your own autobiography as well. What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I had a lot of failures in my life as well playing cricket. I didn't kick on. I was a reserve to go on an England A tour in '95 after I had that really good season with Warwickshire, but probably became a little bit complacent. Didn't really get to where I wanted to get to. Excuse me. And so, growing up from inner city Birmingham, where there's a big Pakistani and South Asian population, a lot of kids want budding to try and make it and everything else, but perhaps don't understand the discipline and everything else that goes with it that you need. A lot of people kept saying to me, it would be quite an education for a lot of the youngsters to understand a little bit about, your journey and how you got there and the work that you had to put in. Perhaps with a lot of barriers being put up against you, but you've still managed to fight your way through and get there. And so I wrote it literally for that. It took 9 months to write. Found myself a publisher, and at the end of the year it became Wisdom Book of the Year, which shocked me as well. But yeah, no, it was great, just reliving some of your own memories as well.
No, it's fantastic. Now, 2012, you voted the 11th most important person in English cricket. How was that for you to be that important, or to have such a role in the cricketing community? I guess we're one of the origins of cricket. It must have been awesome. Yeah,
it was. In 2005, we launched something called Chance to Shine, which was a charity to get cricket back into state schools. And by the time we kind of got to the 2011 stage, we'd raised £55 million as a charity, which is about $120 million. In 9 years, we'd reached 2.5 million children in 11,000 schools that never played cricket before, which included 1 million girls. We celebrated our 1,000th girl after 9 years. So it's a project that was really close to my heart, because it's a schools project. I was spotted in the school as well. So for me, it was really important. But these sort of accolades that come along kind of came along. But 11th out of 50 or whatever. I'm not quite sure what it means, but I'm sure it was it was a nice thing to have. And for me, it was, I guess, another milestone that was quite nice to be recognised and acknowledged.
And then you've been, as we touched on it, CEO of Leicestershire as well, with Callum Parkinson, that's over here to play some cricket at the moment, and Mark Cosgrove. So how did you get to that stage where you could be at the top of the board as well? Yeah,
well, look, I was at Chance to Shine for 9 years, and in 2011 I decided to do an MBA, a Masters in Business Administration, at Warwick Business School, which is probably one of the top 10 in Europe. So managed to do that. The charity supported me in fulfilling that, and sort of I covered a lot of the costs. The Professional Cricket Association helped a lot as well in England, and I decided to do it. And then at the end of that, ironically, the opportunity, the CEO role at Leicestershire became available. I was encouraged to apply, but a lot of people did that, and ended up starting in January 15. and had 4 really good years at Leicester.
And let's talk a little bit of county cricket, because probably not everyone in Australia understands the setup of county. But what was it like to be working in that county environment, and the sort of cricket that was being played, and some of the people that come in and out of the club in that time as well?
Yeah, look, we had a lot of good cricketers come in and out during that time. We had Clint Mackay as well as our overseas player for a couple of years, because he played as a local because of his passport. And then we had the likes of Grant Elliott, who played, Luke Ronke during T20s. We had Mohammed Nabi play as well. So we had some good cricketers come in and out. But there's 18 counties in England. Obviously in Australia there's 6 states, so it probably seems a bit alien to say, well, 18 counties, there's a lot of counties. Of those, there's probably, I would say, 9 international grounds and 9 non-test match grounds. So I was at a non-test match ground, non-international ground. It was day to day. It's pretty hard work at a non-test match ground, because you're surviving a lot on funding you get from the England and Wales Cricket Board. Probably 75% of our money came from the ECB, and it kind of props you up and allows you to carry on day to day. But ultimately our role was to produce cricketers for England, and we had one of the most popular and best academy systems in the country. We produced the likes of James Taylor, Stuart Broad, Luke Wright, who all went on and played for England. We had a good conveyor belt of youngsters coming through. Unfortunately, like most non-test match grounds, it's hard to keep those players because they go on to earn more money at test match grounds.
Yeah, and you've done your time at Leicestershire, and the role. How did the role of the Pakistan, or the CEO of Pakistan Cricket Board come to you?
Yeah, look, I had a meeting with the chairman Ehsan Mani, who used to be the chairman of the ICC as well. He was the chairman of the Pakistan Cricket Board. Met him in London. Said, look, there was a role coming up as a CEO. Wanted to have a chat. Following day, he rang me back again and said, look, I'd love to work with you. There was an interview process. I think about 250 people applied from all over the world, and I managed to secure the role. And I started in February of this year, and moved to Lahore, moved the family over as well.
And as we touched on it, obviously being a very busy role and a very stressful role, but also very rewarding. When you get to see that Test match cricket's going to be back in Pakistan, and you've been pushing that along. It must be great for yourself to see the reward start to come through now.
Yeah, definitely. I think to do this type of role, you need a huge amount of resilience, and you need a thick skin to a certain extent, because the media is pretty relentless in Pakistan, not fair a lot of the time. They don't let the facts and the truth stand in the way of a good story. And so you're constantly fighting those battles, but luckily I try and ignore all of that. Cricket, as I said, is the sport of the nation. It's 24/7. There's 2 cricket talk shows every night on TV. That's the level that you get. So I think as long as you can, with anything in life, you can keep yourself focused on what you're there to do and drown out the noise, and just get on and just do things. I think that's the most important thing, and I've managed to do that and just get things done, which is the most important thing.
Right, no, absolutely. Wasim, thank you very much for joining us, mate, taking your time out of your very busy schedule.
Pleasure.
Good luck with the test matches back in Pakistan, and thanks for joining us.
No, pleasure. Thanks for having me.